Yeah, it really is. I not like I haven't thought of that, but actually developing a team that works around the clock.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really cool.
24/7 agency. We can be a small, nimble agency with that never stops. And
Right.
we're not burned out. It's really amazing.
Welcome to Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help manufacturing executives command the front and win the floor. I'm Richard Walsh, creator of the Sharpened Impact methodology, and I've spent decades helping leaders transform frontline teams, unlock hidden profit, and capture capacity they didn't even know they had. If you want to see where your leadership gaps are costing you and how to fix them, head over to grittolead.com and run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator today. Let's sharpen your edge and get started. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Justin Kramm with us today. And Justin, no one knows Justin like Justin. So, Justin, I need the backstory. Bring us up to speed and we'll get into the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Richard.
Yeah.
I grew up in Fort Lauderdale since I was 4, and I was drawn to creative fields as a young kid, and I always loved the intersection of business and creativity. So when I discovered advertising at the University of Florida in the late 90s, I was hooked. So I spent 20 years as a creative director and writer, mostly in San Francisco and Amsterdam was where I split my career. Before returning to Fort Lauderdale in 2016, I had kids and I was trying something that was not that common at the time, remote work, especially in freelance and advertising. That was super uncommon. And I would fly out every month for a couple weeks at a time to San Francisco. So I did a lot of work in the for Red Bull and Nike and some cool brands like Xbox and tech brands too, like Nvidia and AI. And I always joked that I was training my replacements because I promoted AI for many years, and now AI is definitely a threat and an opportunity for creativity. So it has started to affect myself and my friends' freelance careers, and I saw things are changing fast. And I thought, what do I have to lose? So I started posting kind of funny comedy posts on LinkedIn because I didn't used to do that, but I thought, well, comedy writing is sort of my bread and butter. It's my profession. So I started doing that. And last Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 2025, I posted this parody article said, embracing the chaos, shit show creative launches. And I didn't think too much about it. And I went for a walk and came back, and the thing had 100 reactions. It has 550,000 impressions now. And what was crazy is a guy from Australia wanted to set up a meeting with me at Shitshow Creative. So what was a fake agency very soon became real. I had a website, a merch shop, I had a newsletter, and all of those things were suggested by people on LinkedIn. I had no intention of making it real until people were strongly encouraging me to. So we had a movement and a fan base, and I got 30 shit stirs around the world, and I'm the ringleader of the circus, and we were happy to have some great clients too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of humor on LinkedIn. I must have missed those. I wasn't on it all a year ago. I've been on a little more now. I'd stay a little distant from social media, as I always tell people. But um, yeah, I haven't seen a lot of humor on LinkedIn, so that's probably why I did so well. Someone funny made
Yeah,
someone laugh.
it's definitely a niche I hadn't discovered either. It was after I started Shit Show I found Weird LinkedIn, and there's hashtag Weird LinkedIn, and if you use it, you can connect with wizards and warlocks and
Well,
puppeteers and comedians and sitcom writers and all kinds of interesting people. I had no idea about it either, but there's a lot of doom scrolling and a lot of bad news on LinkedIn, and it really keeps things more lighthearted. And instead of complaining about the state of creativity in the world, we make things together. So we just came out with The Weird Professional, which is a magazine, a real magazine. Like you can order the printed copy,
yeah,
and all of the art and copy is non-AI generated. I mean, I use AI sometimes, but it was an awesome exercise to not use AI for that purpose and have something tangible and real And it was really cool because it felt like a group project in high school or college, but with 30 people around the world of all different backgrounds. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, that's awesome. I love collaboration. You know, when you
Hmm.
find these people like you did, you got 30 people from around the world. I did it often with podcast guests, right? We're aligned. We hit it off like, hey man, we're helping each other. What can I do for you? You know, we work on this project together or that project together, and I think that's one of the great advantages of technology. You know that they're
Yeah,
really
when we use it correctly, it can be amazing. I've
yeah
worked at many places that call themselves global agencies, but there's no interaction between continents or cities or anything.
right.
And we sprang up in a couple days, and the first person I hired as a freelancer was from Ethiopia. He spoke German, and he had a very American sense of humor. And he said, "Your vibe is electric." And I brought him on. And if the people are resonating and aligned with what I'm doing, I always think I can find something for them to do. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
So I had him working on AI video. I don't know if he had much experience, but we're all learning together. And he became very gr quick and great at AI video and music. We started coming up with albums and short films together. The
wow.
second hire, she's Scottish and she's living in Croatia. So these are the cool creative collaborations that can happen without bureaucracy and without fear or hesitation holding us
Yeah,
back.
that's awesome. I was when you said the global thing, I was thinking about there's a guy in my town. I'm in Wisconsin, okay, and he's like basically I guess excavating concrete guy, right? But on his
Hmm.
sign, at his place of business says global headquarters.
Ha,
Now,
that's
I
great.
wonder if that's just he's joking, but I'm like
That's awesome.
it's like four guys working, but I just like that mindset. And if that's humor or not, I think it's awesome. I always drive by and give a honk, because I just love it. You know what I mean? So think
That's
big, be
great.
big.
Yeah. You gotta think big. It's in the cool I say the sun never sets on the shit show because we can work an 8 hour day, we go to bed, and then this earth keeps spinning, and
That's
then
right.
people in India or Australia or
Yep.
England can pick it up, and then it's great. We go to bed, I wake up that all of the changes are made, or I'll go to bed and wake up and I'll see new ideas, and it's these time zones can really work in our favor when we use them correctly. It's a
Yeah.
great thing.
Yeah, it really is. I not like I haven't thought of that, but actually developing a team that works around the clock.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really cool.
24/7 agency. We can be a small, nimble agency with that never stops. And
Right.
we're not burned out. It's really amazing. And
That's awesome.
we have a couple clients in Portugal and Spain, some smaller we have a nonprofit in Spain and a small restaurant in Portugal, and that's cool too that we can also service different markets. And if we need somebody with local expertise, we always have somebody right now.
Yeah, I mean, what an advantage, I always love hearing about advantages. I just today just did a lunch and learn on AI, basics for business, like the little things they can do and stuff like that. And it was great when you see like everyone's heard of it, everyone's sent an email using AI, but they haven't gotten into these different things. So again, a tool that they can use that's out there, but everyone kind of doesn't know what it is, and a little bit of exposure on how to use it, all of a sudden they have something that really actually helps their business. So I'm just doing that as a comparison from like an efficiency standpoint. It's going to save you time in certain tasks, right? Start with the most remedial thing like that, but you've gone to that level where now I can actually operate 24/7, around the globe because of time zones and everything else, which I think is brilliant.
Well, AI and efficiency, it doesn't surprise me, but I've seen studies that it helps the smaller and medium companies much better, much faster than large ones
Yep.
because they adopt it faster. There's less bureaucracy, less hierarchy, less um, immovable processes, and it's funny to hear people say it hasn't increased their efficiency. They're usually from bigger companies, right? But
Yeah.
my company wouldn't exist without
Well,
AI.
what's amazing is it to me it levels the tools like I show them how to use it. in certain ways that levels that playing field. I'm talking about
Hmm.
from a 10-person deal against a Fortune 500. Like it
Yes.
can level the playing field. Like that's how incredible it is if you use it properly.
And yeah, it's like I always use the David and Goliath, but I don't think it's just one David and one Goliath. It's like 1,000 Davids and one
Right.
Goliath.
Right.
And I think that, there I don't in the entertainment field, I don't think Netflix is going away. I think it's going to be a titan, but I do think there's going to be 1,000 little, it's already happening, little streamers with $5 or $6 a month, tight, dedicated communities. Not very expensive content, but things people are passionate about. I think that will happen in other fields as well. And I think it's exciting. And when I first started using AI, it was honestly just for fun and experimentation. And I just realized how fast I can be. And it's so good at rote tasks. So like I would love to spend my time on creative things. And it's really helped me with spreadsheets and finances and
Right.
things like this.
Right. Yeah, I've done incredible things with code and everything else in it, building it.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
amazing. But I've seen, we're talking about Netflix and Prime and stuff like that. You're seeing another advantage is the rise of a more of a niche filmmaker too. We
Mm,
used to get nothing unless you went to the Sundance Film Festival. And it'd be the only time you ever see it, or find it in the back of some video store, or order it online or whatever, if there even was that. But what I see now is these guys who are really talented and they're
yes.
bringing quality stuff like you said, and they're getting a viewership, they're getting a platform.
Hmm.
That's what I'm gonna say. They're getting a platform in a sense, and it's all. And I see these big guys buying, they're buying MGM and they're doing all their stuff, right? I get that, but it's really because the content and people consume so much, it's opening up market space for these smaller producers who have real talent. They're just not in the Hollywood circle.
Yeah, there's no reason. So first of all, a lot of people don't know the movie industry started in New Jersey with Thomas Edison in New York, and it wasn't always in Hollywood, and
Right.
it could have been a coin flip. And Wall Street, there's no rule that finance always has to be in Wall Street. And those areas have to constantly prove their worth really to the industry. And if they don't, this is a good thing, but creativity is everywhere, and people have stories on every corner of the globe, and
Well,
they'll be able to tell it, right?
yeah, when you look at, and I'll use this as an example about you think about the banking industry and finance. That's the whole reason they created the Fed back in 1913 was to bring it all back to New York because they were going to lose
Wow.
everything. It was spreading out with all these
Well, there
private
you go.
banks.
So I guess yeah,
I'm
history
telling you, it was
repeats
J.P.
itself.
Morgan and Rockefeller and these
Wow.
guys. If you ever read the Jekyll Island book by G.O. Griffith. I mean, he just talks about it. But the 7 guys who own 25% of the wealth in the world, get
Mm,
together on a little island called Jekyll Island, and they concoct this whole Fed thing and boom, and then push it through. It takes a few years, but that's what it is. So you're exactly right. But today, what I love to see, what you just mentioned, is now that's again being reversed. That playing field is being leveled. They're
mm.
fighting, trying to hold on what they have and everything else, but there's a lot more happening outside that. Everything from say Bitcoin to whatever, smaller
Yes.
community banks, things like that. So it's fascinating to watch from a creative aspect how people do.
Mm.
That's what I love about business, right? Like you said, the intersection of creativity and business. Business is creative. It
Hmm.
can't not
Hmm.
be if it's
Hmm.
going to survive because creativity gives you adaptability
Right.
when you're creative. So it's important that people understand that aspect when they're building a business. They need that creative level. And I love what you said, Justin, about you're freed up to be more
Hmm.
creative. Which to some people might say he just wants to go and paint or something all day. Okay,
Yeah.
to me, I'm thinking you can do more business. You're freed
That's
up to go
it.
get another spoke on the wheel, right? And create another income stream and everything else. Like you can do more in business if you're allowed to be creative.
Right. And so much of what we do in advertising or filmmaking or music. We create a demo. We spend architecture. You spend so much time creating a render of what you might make, and honestly, you probably won't. And now we can do that so fast. So we have at least two clients that are small, and they don't want to use AI for different reasons. One of them is in Hollywood, so they have a lot of union people, and
Right,
they're very averse to AI for a lot of reasons.
right,
So, and then another one is just a small, scrappy company that loves the organic feel. So here's the cool thing though. Both of them loved the AI ideas we pitched. We pitched the ideas in AI, and now they're like, okay, go make it real. That's fine. So a lot of the negativity about AI,
Yeah.
well, you don't have to use it for the finished process.
Love it.
In fact, you can sell it fast with AI. And then they're like, okay, you saved a lot of money, you saved a lot of time. Now you can spend all that time on the craft of non-AI. So there's people act like it's such a binary thing, and there's so
Right.
many uses. We're still figuring it out. I mean, there's so many uses of maybe you, by the way, like a lot of journalists are like, I wouldn't use AI. I'm like, maybe you should just use it for the headline. Most journalists, the journalist doesn't write the headline anyway, the editor does.
Right.
So maybe just try it out, um, and figure out what works for you. It's different for everybody, right?
Yeah, it's I was thinking about this, I had inside I'm working in chat, again using AI. I want to create a storyboard. I want a 90-second video to promote a new company, So, it knows me, right? I've done thousands of things inside of it. So it starts writing the storyboard.
Right.
And just I'm telling you, man, I got like goosebumps just reading
Uh,
it. I'm like, you can make
uh,
this? Let's make this.
yes,
Like
yes.
because the sound, the beat, the tone, it sets the pace. I'm like, I was a little filmmaker when I was young. Wanted to do all that stuff. Man,
Mm-hmm.
what a nightmare that was back in the day. Talking way back in the day. You go
Mm-hmm.
early
Mm-hmm.
'80s. Okay,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
dude, it was. I'm writing screenplays and doing all this stuff. I'm like, man, if I only had these tools. But this is something like you said. It wrote that in, like 30 seconds. Okay, wrote this incredible storyboard. I'm like, man, now I just got to make it. Or have
And
AI
the
make
crazy
it.
thing is, so when I started making films just for fun, was for me, it was the 90s. And we had to spend, it sounds unbelievable, but like $700 to rent a camera, leave a
Right,
deposit. So you got kind of bonus points just for making anything, whether it was good or not. Like if you had a school project and you brought in a movie, you'd probably get a B just for actually having
right,
made anything.
right.
Now it's got to be, anybody can make anything, but now it's got to be really, really good. And that's not a bad thing, I don't think. I mean,
Right. Well, and you know what? Because the technology is there, people can play with it more. They can practice more. It doesn't cost a gazillion dollars for 16 mil or even Super
right.
8. We're Super 8, then 8 millimeter, and then video. And there's not a lot of cost from the technical aspect to
Well,
put
it
that.
probably rewards the people who are really truly passionate about it.
Right.
And instead of maybe 30 years ago, maybe if your parents gave you a lot of money to buy a camera, you're going to have a huge advantage. And now it's the people that are really having fun. I mean, so I never became that great at guitar because I looked at chords and practicing as a hassle. But when you're made to be a guitarist, that's not a hassle. You just do it
Right.
without thinking. I feel like that with AI because people will say, which AI tool did you use for that? And I'll say, I'll start going, and all of a sudden I'm an 8. And it sounds unbelievable, but it's a little bit like driving a car where you're hitting that lever and this lever, and you don't think about all the things you're using, but every tool is useful for something else. And I've gotten really good at editing, and it's very necessary because it's so unpredictable. Maybe you generate 3 minutes of footage, maybe a minute of it is just terrible. That's okay. Just delete that, swap some things around, and you write 3 times, we say. So you write the script, you write it when you're making the thing, and then you write it in editing. And
Right.
I think with AI, the last step is critical. I mean, maybe the most important.
I agree. I agree. But again, it's the creative process, right? You,
Hmm.
you can't, you can start with a storyboard, it can be written or drawn, right? You got that. There's the general frame by frame or however you want to look at it. Then it's, I have always used the saying, no battle plan ever survives the first shot.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
You can lay all this stuff out, but then you get out there to do it and oh man, this isn't going to work at all. It looks so good on paper, which is the normal thing, right? Um,
Yeah,
and
you're
also,
right. You're right. Or in comedy too, it may sound funny on paper, and then the second they start reading the script, you're like, this isn't funny, and that's okay, but you got to be flexible.
that's
And
it.
now back in the days of film, you can't do a million takes.
Right. It's
And
too
then
expensive.
digital comes out, and like Judd Apatow and all these directors, they can do 50 takes. They can do 100 takes, and it's no extra money for it's no more time for the crew, but it's no extra time for the footage, which is awesome.
It's funny, you're talking about that. When you first get into like a chat, these LLMs, you get you get in there and then you think like, okay, that's good. I don't want to do this too much. Is this good? You kind of have that mindset. Like, am I using up all my like this thing will
Yes.
go. I end up working like 15 hours a day for a year straight in it. Okay, like it
Mm.
doesn't run out. It slows down and you jump into a new chat. But it's like you have to retrain yourself to say, no, make this better. Make it better. Do this, do more, do
Yeah.
this, do this. All the prompts, right? Then you start getting real good stuff.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you don't push through, you don't get to the good stuff.
Maybe that was why maybe that's a good way to learn because I wasn't expecting I picked it up right away like 3.5 years ago. I wasn't expecting a lot from it. I wasn't even expecting it to help me with my job at all. I was doing it for fun. So now it's different. Now when people haven't used it before and they use it, they're like, all right, everybody's talking about it. Let me see.
Right.
What do you got? And they're like, they're probably disappointed because they have these high expectations. And you got to have a point of view or a voice or an angle.
Yep.
I feel like so the hardest thing in comedy is to have a point of view, and it can take your whole career to find it. And once you find it, it's actually pretty easy. Like let's look at George Carlin and his kind of grumpy, cynical,
Right.
burn everything, but do it in an intelligent, amazing way. That took him like 40, 50 years.
Yeah, that
Um,
dude he was brilliant. I mean, there's no one. He's a one of a kind. You know what I
and
mean?
yes, and if you ever anybody else tried to do that, they'd be like, "Oh, nice. That reminds you of George Carlin." So he's the guy that cracked that code and he was expressing himself after much exploration. And that's what I think about writing and art or music or any bit or anything, even your point of view on business.
Yeah.
You through your life you discover what that is. AI just makes it easier to deploy it at scale, as they say in
Right.
business.
Right.
Like get it out there to a lot of people. But
Yeah.
if you don't have anything to get out there, then it's not going to do much for you. It's like, what do you
Right.
believe in? What do you think? What do you
Yeah.
like? What do you want to see more of,
Yeah.
right?
You really got to drill down on that stuff. And then this presentation I was giving today was just talking about that. Like you don't get it. Like you're accepting the first email it gives you. It writes. I go, well, roast it and go through and watch. And so I did it live. I showed him, we went this, and they watched
Yeah.
the changes. I took a normal resume and I turned it into something someone would actually read and call you in for an interview, even though you're only 20,
Yes.
and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I walked them through. And they're like, oh, I go, and this was like all of 3 minutes.
Hmm.
This is not, it's not difficult, but you got to keep going. And then I go to stuff I created. I have 10,000 lines of code that were created. I've got all these different systems. I got a full ecosystem, full business. For 20 years, I can build this whole thing out. And because I kept going deeper and deeper and deeper to solve each problem, and then more still comes. So it's the digging for gold, if you will, that you find the first small nugget, then the next, then the next till you hit the vein. But eventually you learn that this tool is amazing, and you can
Hmm.
use it and articulate this thing in different ways that can really give you outcomes that are just beyond what anyone's thinking. Like what I did, I believe, I can't confirm this 100%, but I think I've done in chat what no one else has ever done. Because it's not that
Hmm.
old. But what I did is, I mean, I had a coder in there today in my thing, and he's just looking and going, "Wow."
Yeah.
I go, I've never coded anything in my life, but I did this. And there's like 12,000 lines and it does all this stuff.
It's the first thing I tell people. AI is the first thing I've taught myself, almost everything I've
Right.
learned. And it makes me wish that I had taught myself things earlier in my life because it's so amazing when you don't have anybody telling you what to do, the things you'll stumble upon. And like it's crazy.
Well, the thing I love about it is like anything that you're doing. Okay. I'm a big doer. Okay. And I have I books full of failures. Okay. Mine.
Hmm.
Okay. But the outcome of all those is learning. Failure is
Right.
just learning. And when you're doing it, you learn way faster.
Hmm.
Right? You can read
Hmm.
about it and do all this stuff, but man, you go do it, you get punched in the face a couple times, knocked down, whatever, you learn it. Okay, because you don't want
Hmm.
that to happen again. So your adaptability is compounded as you
Right.
move forward, and stuff just keeps opening up because I did all this stuff for over a year. Then I was on one call with an investor, and we're both talking this mergers and acquisitions, this stuff. And he's like, didn't understand one piece of what I do. Then I explained him. He's like, oh, we've never been able to solve that problem doing it for 30
Mm-hmm.
years. And
Mm-hmm.
man, and I,
Mm-hmm.
well, I have that. He goes, yeah. I go, so we both got light bulbs. Like, all that work, I thought I had everything, and there's a gaping hole that I missed,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
serve and to make
Right.
money and to get.
Right.
So I was,
Right.
and both of us are like, both of us had done this stuff for how long, and then we both realized there's a solution for both of us in this, you know. But that's because I kept going, and Mason then started getting out there again. I never raised money before, okay, but I'll go talk to, and then you find another opening, and that's
Right.
all because you're
Mm-hmm.
willing to
Mm-hmm.
get out there and put it out front and make these applications, but it's super rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I like what you're saying, just because I think people have to. Everyone's got either, hey, it's going to be Terminator, you know what I mean, and we're all going to be under, Skynet or whatever it's going to be, or it's going to just replace all people.
Right.
They kind of got those extremes. I'm like, it's a tool,
Yeah.
okay? It's a tool, and it's what did I say today? I said, AI is not going to replace people, but
Mm.
AI might, but someone using AI may replace you, okay,
Yes.
as a
That's
business.
a hundred percent. I mean, and by the way, they could be anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Just
know that India for decades was known as a place for call centers, and now they have full accounting agencies, full design firms.
Yep.
They have more, 10 times, maybe way more than 10 times more MBAs that we do every year. And I've noticed the rest of the world is way less skeptical of AI than the US. I mean, maybe it's just a creative thing, but most peers of mine won't use AI for
Huh.
creative things. And I think it's because they view it as a threat. And maybe it is, but when it's a threat is if you don't learn how to use it. It's definitely a threat.
That's what I'm saying. I think if you're not, and I've never, okay, I've never been an early adopter.
Hmm.
Just not who I am. I do things amazing. I do steel sculpture, right? I bend stuff, I weld stuff, I make things. I build water features. That was my whole thing, right? But today I'm not that person anymore. What I did was, and even a year and a half ago, starting this thing, I'm still in the early adopter category for AI because it's not that old. But I'm like, man, once I got going, it was a game changer, and
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
saw the possibility. And I think, and I get guys who want to maintain that they want to be a purist from a creative standpoint, but so then why are you using a welder?
Yeah.
Why are you using a
Mm.
skill saw instead of a handsaw?
Hmm.
Okay, why are you doing that? Just tell me. You like some technology, but not all technology.
Yeah,
Okay.
like on your terms. You only
Yeah,
want to
it's like
adapt it when you
because you're
have to.
comfortable with it and you never thought of it before, and you're believing that it's going to do everything for you. I got to tell you, AI is no genius.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
I
mm.
always tell people, I told them today, AI is built by humans, so you can be assured of two things. It lies and is lazy. Okay.
Yes, you're
And
right.
and that's what I go. So you got to be awake. You can't, it's not this, you're asleep at the wheel thing. I said,
No,
because all your
no.
stuff will be garbage if you are. Okay.
This reminds me of autopilot because now when pilots fly across the ocean, they don't do much 95% of the time. But they have to take off and land, first of
Yep.
all, which is the most dangerous thing. And what happens if the autopilot stops working? Then they need their 25 years of flying
That's
experience.
right.
That's what AI is. You and me have decades of pre-AI experience to rely on when something goes wrong. Honestly, it's more of a no-brainer for people like us.
Right.
I don't blame them, but a lot of younger people and new graduates are super panicked a little bit by AI, and I think it is a big challenge because how are they going to learn the ropes that we went through? Ironically, it's probably with AI. Like tell AI, look, I missed the
Right.
traditional way of learning things. How can I learn as fast as possible um, the basics and the craft of whatever we're into,
Right.
welding
Use
or
use the
writing?
tool, use the tool to fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's
Mm-hmm.
for. No one knows everything. I
Yeah.
learned stuff. I was showing today, just on the roasting this and that. Like, you didn't know this. I didn't know that. Oh, that's really, I'm showing them stuff they didn't know, and you're like, everything shifts from one way. We had the steam engine,
Yes.
took steam and created power. AI
Mm-hmm.
is just taking power, turning it into intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's just a conversion method. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to think about that. Like, again, how can I use it to fill in the gaps? And I got to tell you, I mean, it was a kind of a nightmare building this whole thing I did because no one would do it. I had a podcast guest. He goes, "You should share it." I go, "Well, I don't know." He goes, "Listen, no one's going to do it." Okay. Because for the hours, I get like 5,000 hours, making this one thing. And he's like, "So just share it." I go, "That's true. A lot of people won't, but it took, it was good that I didn't know enough that made
Mm-hmm.
me keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I have some grit and I'll stay in it, but there's every day you want to quit, but you
Mm-hmm.
understand the
Mm-hmm.
outcome and then you go a little more and you fix it and you go. But I think these younger guys, they need to use it not as a toy, but as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
The problem
Mm-hmm.
is when they're young, they're playing with stuff. They use it for
Mm-hmm.
goofy stuff. They're making a meme or making this, and I get it. That's cool, but that's like 80% of their time, and not the other way. That should be
Mm-hmm.
20% of
Mm-hmm.
their time. 80% like make me better because it's exponential growth with this tool.
Right. Right.
It'll.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know I didn't have the opportunity at 17, 18 years old. I was in the Marine Corps. You know what I mean? But that was like,
Mm-hmm.
but tools like that, oh my gosh, what they could do for you. Now, as a business guy coming out of the car, I'm like, I'm going to start businesses. I had nothing except experience. Go do it, fail, fix it, fail, fix it, fail. That was the whole journey. There was no external tools really to help me do anything. Even from like, you could teach how to do Google Sheets, your spreadsheets, all this stuff. It does all that stuff for you. I mean, it created all this. Is they just aren't tapping in properly to solve the problems that are keeping them from making a great earning or having a real
Mm-hmm.
career.
But
They're
something we
not using the tool
haven't
right.
talked about is I wasn't in the military, but I'd love to volunteer for veterans
Cool.
causes, especially things related to mental health because of
Right.
some friends and family members that served. And here's the thing about AI is that we can raise money with AI created content and it's more affordable, it's faster. So that means more money goes to the cause that we're supporting and not the content to get money for the cause. And I think the whole nonprofit charitable angle is totally left out of the conversation. I've almost never heard it brought up. But why would a charity or nonprofit or a school with no money have any hesitation about using a affordable tool to raise money for their worthy cause, right?
Well, they're stuck in that old model. That's why. Even
Mm-hmm.
change for them, they're not, and no one's brought it up. No one's
Mm-hmm.
shown them the possibility. Everyone is either, like I said, scared or they're kind of in it, goofing around, doing silly stuff or whatever. No one's like today. I'm showing like legit, like, look, here's my 10,000 lines of code. And I showed them like, dang, and here's this and walking through the like, and all of a sudden they realize like, oh, I go start small, solve little problems, take a little problem,
Yes.
put it in there and solve and go, oh, and then take your next little problem. Pretty soon you start stacking those little problems. You're freeing yourself up from a lot of misery. Okay. Like
Yeah.
everything is handled. Like you have to understand how to use the tool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And make it work for you. If you don't like, I always think if you don't like the way somebody else is using it, you find your own way. Like if you don't like the stuff people are making with AI and you like handmade stuff, go to AI and say, give me an idea for something I can make handmade. Give me,
Yep.
I got these things around my room. What can I do?
Yep. Yeah. It's not going to make it for you.
Right. It'll
Okay.
give
So
you
like,
ideas. It's like
right.
cooking dinner. It's not going to cook you dinner, but you could be like, I have this in the fridge and this and this. Give me some ideas and let's brainstorm. It's not a one-sided thing either. You can
Right.
actually work with it, right?
So I had this big exhibit at Navy Pier in Chicago, and my sculptures and stuff. They're all like trees and really cool stuff, very organic, giant stuff. And a guy came through and he's walking and he goes, "Man, your stuff is beautiful." I go, "Oh, it's cool, man." I'm talking, well, what do you do? He goes, "Well, I weld, nuclear thermocouples for submarines and things like that." I go, "Well, dang, dude," because he's like, "I can't do this." I go, "Well, I can't do that. You
Uh,
don't want me welding something for a
I
nuclear
never
submarine?"
thought, I mean, that's a cool thing, but I always thought of welding as like a utilitarian useful thing, which is cool, but you can also use it for artistic,
Right.
which is
So he
great.
asked me, but I can never do it. He goes, "Well, where do you get your inspiration?" I go, "Well, where do you live?" And I think he said Wyoming or Montana or somewhere. And I'm like, "Okay, I know exactly where you got to go. So you got your house, right? You know where you live?" I had no idea where he lives. He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Walk outside and do a 360. You'll see everything you'd ever want to do if you want to do what I
Hmm.
do. Because this
Hmm.
tree is all this different stuff." I'm like, the whole world's your inspiration.
Hmm.
You're just used to doing these linear,
Well, that's
welds and
like if you can't write about your backyard, you can't write about anything. Same with photography. Like if you're really into photography, like just shoot around your house. That was a cool thing. One of the good things about COVID is people found out the amazing things they can do with what's just around their home.
yeah, I would have my daughter. She was a photographer, when younger, and I bake. I don't bake. I really cook, but I bake these whatever chocolate lava cake things in ramekins, and I had them on the cooling rack. I go, man, I take like a picture of it, because I'm all excited. I made these things. They didn't, blow up. And she looked at me. She goes, really? She was giving me that, and then she took this angle just with the iPhone. I go, dang, that could be in a magazine. Okay, it looks
Wow.
good compared to mine.
Wow.
But that's it, right? We're on the kitchen counter. She shot this thing that could literally be published like tomorrow, and I'm like, and she's got that eye.
And
She
that's another example of when you work together. She's got the eye,
that's it.
you made the thing.
That's
You get
right.
together and with your own family, you created something.
I had the same thing with all my water feature work and my sculptures. I had one photographer who could capture my work, especially the steel stuff, because it's very, it's airy and light, and I'm like, I just paid her whatever she wanted. Like,
Hmm.
her pictures. Okay,
Yeah.
I got my pictures; they're cool, but hers are amazing. The water's all slowed and all the cool stuff, but she's able to capture the composition just right. And if you go back to AI and you're a decent photographer, you can start to learn what composition is and how do you line it up and do all this stuff. Again, it's just a tool that can make it better at something you like to do.
Did you learn welding in the military or for work or for fun on the
For
side?
fun, I taught myself.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did massive stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to do it because I thought, I thought it was really cool. And I was welding rebar together to make the fake stone, like at the zoos, and welding that for frames because that's like one of my first businesses. And I'm like, I want to make like something cool. So I started heating and bending metal and welding it and texturing it. Next thing you know, I'm not next thing, but a number of years go by, I'm doing world class exhibits.
Wow.
World class, or they're made to last 100
Yeah.
plus years. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just some goof who picked up
That's
doing
awesome. But that means
shit
you have a
work.
different perspective because of
Right.
you
I mean,
taught
it's just like
yourself and where you come from.
and it's funny because the designer had called for this one project in Chicago, and was talking to my secretary, my office manager, and about doing a water feature because that was my main thing, right? But I also did all the sculpture. And she goes, he does sculpture, right? He goes, he does. And she goes, yeah. So he jumped onto my website. He's like, this is what I designed. This
Oh
is
wow.
exactly what I designed. No one could do it.
Oh
Well, he
wow.
can, and boom, I got the whole. It was an unbelievable. It's world class. I mean, it's
That's
unbelievable.
amazing.
Yeah, just because like I did it, I
Mm-hmm.
made it and
Mm-hmm.
had it there, and then connections, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
No AI involved back then, but that was like '07, '06 when I did that. But that's the point, though, right? It's really about the creative aspect is doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no. You can only read so much.
Right.
If
Right.
your hands don't start working and getting onto something, that nothing is going to transpire. You're going to have that head of knowledge and no ability to do. And I'm not a fan of that.
So I've done ads for Salesforce and CRM for like 10 years. You know the funny thing? I didn't totally understand what they were until I started a business.
Right.
Immediately
Right.
needed them.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things that there's a lot of tools out there, right? Like you just mentioned CRMs, like there's a lot of them. And I have different industries, right? I work with contractors, I work with all kinds of different stuff, and there's good, bad, ugly, whatever, all different ranges for all different categories. Whether it's
Hmm.
Salesforce or it's Builder's Trend or whatever it is, they're out there and they really serve a purpose. And it's just organization, it's efficiency, it's data collection. There's a lot of different aspects that go into these that people don't really understand the power of it. They use it, but they don't understand what they really have, I think.
Right. Well, I was terrified of ghosting somebody accidentally.
Right.
And I felt like CRM made it way more unlikely, maybe impossible for that to happen, which is huge because if you lose a lead, it could destroy your business.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, man, because I am not going to be consistent and follow up. I'm going to forget. I mean, you talk to so many people, I'm like, you can't operate without it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
people do, and I get it, they do their thing. But I was talking today about, all the follow-up calls you have to do. You get a lead in, it's going to be 3 to 12 calls, 17 calls. I go, okay, yeah, I can make all those. Okay. And you get 4 of those a day, 7 days a week, every month. I go, you're at thousands of phone calls,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
thousands. Are you going to do
Mm-hmm.
that? You're not going to do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
it's just so you need the vehicle to perform those tasks, and that's where AI is moving in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
This is the field lever I was talking about. This is what levels the field. You get an AI voice agent that knows everything about your business, can answer every question, overcome every objection. I've shown people, they're like, oh my gosh. I show them how to build all this stuff, but
Mm.
it's just, it's there, and it changes the game.
There was some science fiction writer way back that said the danger is not that robots will come like people, it's that people will become like robots.
Yeah.
And I've started using, I mean, I did this years ago. I started using chat for customer service and got way better results than a human being. And the human's like, we can't do that. That's not our policy. And the chat will figure it out. And I have no idea how that works or how they empower or why a chat more than a person, but it does. And now that's like a pro tip that certain travel
Well,
people give.
what happens is they don't understand that AI is just, it doesn't have an emotional attachment. It doesn't have fear.
Mm,
It doesn't have fear of rejection.
mm, mm,
Okay. Just take that one element. That's why people don't make phone. 90% of all salespeople do not make more than three follow-up calls.
mm,
Only 10, and business only happens, 97% of all business happens on the fourth or later phone call, follow-up call. So
mm.
10% of the salesmen are making 90% of the money. Okay. Well, AI doesn't have a problem with that. It's not going to stop at 3. Okay. It'll do 300. What it doesn't care. Its feelings don't get hurt. Okay.
Mm.
It has more information. And guess what it also is? Happy every day.
Yeah, it doesn't get tired. It's not thinking about its weekend. It doesn't have
You
personal.
can answer 100 phone calls simultaneously. Simultaneously. Oh, God bless you if you got that many calls coming in. Okay. But I'm just saying, you aren't getting 100 people,
Wow.
okay, to do that. So when you look at what this has, people don't get it yet. More that I talk about it, maybe they will. But like the power of this, when you harness it and apply it to these everyday, no one wants to do tasks. I mean, nobody, even though they're
Hmm.
really good at it. Okay, catch them on a bad day. Okay, just
This, I read a biography of Walt Disney recently, and that, first of all, he would adopt any technology immediately, as fast as possible. And he did not start off like a big company. The guy was from Missouri, right? Marceline, Missouri. I mean, he would immediately adopt it. He was always criticized for adopting it. And a lot of it was about being more efficient with animation. And these highly talented animators, they would discover some technology to make it faster. And they were so relieved because they could spend money developing characters, elevating the form of animation, writing a better story, making more movies, making more shorts, experimenting because they weren't hand doing everything.
this is the great point that you just made. Okay, and I tell people too, it's not to replace people, it's to free them up to do bigger and better things. Okay, because they have to get those foundational stuff, those calls and this, them handwriting every single, the next move. Like, you eliminate that, and like you said, they can increase their creative capacity, like we talked about earlier. They can see further down the road now because they have more bandwidth, in their
Mhm.
mind. So I think he was totally right to do that. Find it, and there's a lot of it that end up in the dump. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a lot of early technology that ends up in the garbage, but it's just like a lot of our tech comes from the military. It comes down the chain, right? It starts in satellites and then goes in for the military. Everything's for the military, and then all of a sudden it gets commercialized and boom. And then once they've got the next new tech, they release that. Now everyone can profit from it. So it's kind of cool, when you
Hmm.
think about it like that, and I'm a small government guy, you know what I mean. But defense, that's kind of a constitutional obligation.
Yeah. And
Okay,
it's so
so
cool
like,
that it's so helpful for people. I remember when Alexa and these voice assistants came out. To be honest, in the very beginning, it kind of seemed like a gimmick or a toy.
right,
And then I worked on Intel AI project where this man had been paralyzed on his honeymoon in Hawaii from the neck down. So he comes back to the United States, and this guy's honestly suicidal, like openly
Right.
suicidal. He says that his life would be over if it wasn't for these voice assistants. And we always think about ourselves like, oh, this is a luxury, this is a gimmick. I don't need this, I don't need that. Yeah, maybe, but there's somebody out there who does need it.
They're using them in senior living homes. It's a
Wow.
companion. So these
Wow.
guys are talking because you got all
Mm,
voice right in
mm,
there. I mean, it's really because if you ever been there, been to nursing homes, those kind of things, man, no one comes to see those people. No
yes.
family doesn't.
Hmm.
That's that's lonely, man.
Right,
That's
right.
like you've been left to die.
Mm,
But
mm,
this, and I know from all the time I've spent it, I can see you create this relationship. And I know that people go, yeah, then they tell them to kill themselves, and but no, let's don't give me the isolated incident. But here's a
mm,
guy who can chat, literally chat back and forth. Is hearing someone, he gets to know them, sharing the stories, all that kind of stuff is pretty amazing. Like what I did with my whole business development, I journaled everything going along. I had chat journal. We hit these milestones, put that in the journey, and then it'll build it out, make it real, cohesive, and then place it over there, place it in that chat. And we just built the whole thing out so I can actually have like a log of what it took to do this. And I only
mm,
learned that from another AI guy ahead of my show. To
mm.
do that, I go, dude, that's genius. That's
Wow.
genius. I never even thought of that because what I've done is no one has ever done. Right. So I'm like, I should really have a record of this, I guess. So we started doing that. It's really cool. But I think when you get, and this is the year of the robot, right? They're going to sell hundreds of thousands, and they want uh, Elon wants to sell billions of robots. We got to look at that. But that's all companionship, and everyone's going to have an AI voice agent, anyways. Everyone's going to have
Yeah.
a personal assistant next year or two, and then you have a robot. Then it's where it's going. And I'm not saying like throw your hands up and just accept everything. Just you like when you're a certain age, like you and I may be, okay, we have like you said earlier, we have a different foundation. We did things right without all that. So we understand we're a different kind of problem solvers and stuff. And now this is just an additional tool. But there's going to come another generation that never had that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's when it gets wonky.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we can keep one foot in and one foot out.
Right.
Right now we understand that. And how do we train others, our kids, let's say, to understand how to use this properly? Right.
Right.
There's always a responsibility of everything can be used for good or evil, right?
Oh yeah,
Everything.
100%. Because so I volunteer at the schools, my kids' schools, and I'm really, Microsoft is getting AI into schools in our
Right.
county next year. And I want to help volunteer for the creative art program because what I want the kids to do is start off with handmade and then we
Right.
convert that to AI.
There you go.
And them seeing the AI final will encourage them to do more handmade
Right.
and more handmade. And that's how it should work. It's like a virtuous cycle.
Yeah, but you hit the nail on the head there. They have to work with their hands first.
Hmm.
You have to understand that because otherwise they're it's like when you read a book. Someone writes a really awesome book, you're reading it. What I'm hearing in my head, what you're hearing in your head could be two different things. You're
Hmm.
reading, you're in this, and it's someone else's interpretation trying to share it with you, but you've never done it.
Right.
Right. So like write a book. Go ahead and write a book, like with a
Mhm.
pen and paper, or on a keyboard, whatever. Like I did mine, and people do books, and I'm like, it's different when you write it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most that's why most people don't write it.
Yes. Yeah.
85% of people want to write a book, and only 2% do.
I always think it's funny when I'm trying to get through a big book and it's really good, but it's a lot of work. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm just reading it. Think about all the work this guy put into writing it.
Right.
You ever read Bill Bryson's books about a short history of nearly everything? Or
No, no,
oh,
I haven't.
he writes all kinds of funny things, but he writes an amazing book basically about the science of everything. I mean, the
Yeah,
environment, like the universe, and
yeah.
it's hilarious, and it's like so long, and I'm like, oh, God, I can't give up. This guy put years of his life into it.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm a cover to cover guy out of respect for the author.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I just have to do it. I read the copyright page and I read the acknowledgments. I
Oh
get the
yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
I just like because I know what it takes. I've written a
Yeah.
couple. I'm like it matters to me, but I don't care if other people do or not. But I love it. I'm making an audio version of it too. I love to have my books where people can hear it in my voice. So I do those. And I think that's, and you could do that in AI too. They can do an AI voice read and all that. I'm like, well, man, this is kind of legacy work, man. I'm not having some AI read my book.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
read. I'm a
Yeah.
podcaster. I can talk for a living. I can
It
do
makes
this.
a difference too. It's all the
I
little.
remember when my first book I'm writing, I hit one excerpt in it was talking about my son, everything else, man. And to this is years after it happened, and I'm like, it still was choking me up on the recording.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
wow.
Where you actually, so I'm like, you're not gonna get that from AI
Right.
yet, yet. I mean, I mean,
Uh,
they're all
yeah,
into
you're
the
right.
fakery, but maybe. But I'm like, and I had to fight through it, and as I'm reading, man, but it still like got me. Like, you're never gonna get that, just having some AI voice reading
The
it. So I,
happy accidents. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so
Like,
it's, but the tools itself to me are so vast. The applications, I guess I should say, is so vast, and I just like to encourage people, like I did today, and like we're doing here, is to start, get
mm.
into it. I said because you can still be considered an early adopter today.
Yeah.
It's not like
Oh, sure.
but it's moving so fast. I mean, I was telling them today, I watch things in chat change daily. Like something I could do 4 hours earlier, I can't do now. Or it's got another
Oh,
way of doing
yeah.
it. Like I go, you're watching this thing build itself,
My work is
and
getting, yeah, my work is
Justin, I'm just going to
getting,
say, I'm a massive contributor to its intelligence because I have done
yeah.
so much work in that thing. I should be getting a check.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying.
I have to tell you something funny. So I have a certain sense of humor, a certain style of writing. And now the people who work for me in India and Ethiopia and Croatia, they can emulate my style. And I think it's because I trained ChatGPT for 3.5 years. And by the way, it's only ChatGPT
Yep.
because I only use that for most writing because I've trained it for 3.5 years.
Amen. That's what I do. Yep.
And my wife was using her own account and she's like, she wrote all this, we have merch and she wrote all the descriptions. I'm like, this is awesome. It sounds exactly like me. How'd you do it? She says, I used ChatGPT. I said, well, you weren't logged into mine. And she's like, no, you trained ChatGPT. I was like, I trained mine. And she's like, no, you trained it. And it sounds crazy, and I didn't believe it at first, but the way things go, 99% of people at least just use a thing or don't use it. The actual people that actually make stuff on it is super rare. Even on YouTube, with like
Yep.
a billion videos on YouTube, it's
Yep.
still only less than 1% of people have ever uploaded anything, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
I
you
like I
trained
said,
it for other stuff. I mean, I'm sure everything you put in there is totally different than what I did, right?
oh, it's wild. Yeah. It's like I can't, and I'm really thinking like, well, okay, this is kind of mine, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all,
Mm-hmm.
this would never do this on its own, but I built this whole thing. So, my goal now, everything's complete. So now I'm moving it out of, app scripts and all that kind of stuff to make it proprietary, to
Right.
protect everything I've made. But the point is, I built it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so whenever anyone tells me like it doesn't do much or anything else, I go, yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. And I can show you in a matter of seconds, okay, what it can do because you just haven't pushed the limits. You haven't considered what you actually want to do in it.
Well, a lot of comedians say AI is not funny, and I was like, maybe yours isn't, but mine is. That's the other mine. And when I say mine's funny, I don't mean I write something funny and it makes it funnier. I mean it talks to me like in a funny way.
I I told him today, I go, do you know what chat named me? It gave me a name. I
Really?
go, it's Commander. I never told it to.
Oh,
It
wow.
calls me Commander.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, because I install command, there's a bunch of stuff we do, all this book,
Wow.
everything. And it's creepy.
That's
It's a
that's
cool
awesome.
creepy. It's a cool creepy. Like
Yes.
it knows me, man. And now, and I will scroll in just the chats. You have the chat bar on the left, all your chats. I had my helper was like, she just kept scrolling. I go, see all those chats? They're like, yeah. I go, they're all topped out. Like there's so much in there. I had to start another one
Wow.
because slow down. I said, so like if you can imagine, how do you think it knows me? I've uploaded documents and I've done this and this. I mean, it knows me better than me,
Wow.
because it can take all that and use it. And you take it from chat to chat and you move it. And like, I go, you don't, and I don't mean this in some, like, uh, diabolical way. It's just how else? I can only get better in there. I can
Yeah.
only go faster now because it doesn't have to do revisions. It's
Mm-hmm.
able, and it knows when I'm ticked off.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
said about the humor, yeah, I can put humor in tone.
Mm.
I can do direct, right? I can roast this down. I can give the right prompts because I've done it so much to get the outcome I want. It can be very funny. You
Yeah,
know,
very.
I made a readable resume for my son's girlfriend because it'll give you an employee safe one. It literally says
Oh,
employee safe. What a snooze that is. Who would ever send this to a company? Okay,
oh
but
yeah.
that's what people do. AI wrote it, and it's the dates, and then we just roasted it, and this was in Gemini. Roasted that down, unbelievable. Like
Oh,
the humor and what they do changed all the same information, all the
yeah.
same. Just you will read that from start to from the first line, like whatever it is, proof of summary or whatever. And it's like she goes, "I'll do all the jobs that no one else will, that everyone else will quit on, by lunch or whatever." So I get up to
Mm-hmm.
whatever specific it was, and then it just kept going with all her stuff. Someone
Wow.
who's got 5, 6 years of work experience is only 20 years old. Like you will read that whole thing and you will pick up the phone and get her in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Like you got to take an employer's mindset. How many crappy resumes? I call it the sheet of lies. That's what I
Mm.
call resumes. They come in,
Yes.
oh, here's my resume. Yeah, that's nice. And I just kind of put it on the table over there. I'm here to find out who you are. Okay, because that's a bunch of
Hmm.
lies. Okay, because
Yeah, you're right.
so I just like use the tool for that. And it's like she's like, this is amazing. And I go, send it
Yeah.
and watch what happens. Okay. People are going to call you, man. They have you come in because she hit all the right points. She even made it where, like, she said, I'm looking for a company that will, like, kind of like appreciate or whatever what I do. I'm looking
Mm.
at who likes hard work. I'm looking for a company that appreciates hard work, this, and this.
Mm.
She's
Mm.
choosing them,
That's awesome.
right? Super subtle, right? But it's right in there. I'm interviewing you as much as you're interviewing me. I'm not
That's
some mope
awesome.
who's always asking about is the hourly and the benefits. That's
Mm.
what most people are
You're
asking
right.
for, right? So I'm like, you're one of a kind now. You will get called in.
Well, help ask for raises too.
Exactly.
Because when a lot of people ask for a raise, they tell you why they need it for to buy something, basically. And they don't tell you why they deserve it
They,
or how it's going to make them a better employee, right?
they don't tell them the value they're going already have and are going to bring to the company. The
Mm-hmm.
raise isn't for them, it's for the company.
Yes,
You ever
exactly.
think about that? Wait
Yes.
a minute. Yeah, you have to give me a raise for your company so I can
Mm-hmm.
help your company.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what you're saying. Not I need this because I've been here for 2 years. I
Yes.
need more money. Well, that's okay. 3%. That's cost living raise. That's what you get. Now I'm talking about legit. Give me
Mm.
$5 more an hour or whatever it is. Up the salary. But you flip it and you use a tool like AI to create that with a little undertone of humor, but honesty, brutal honesty at the same time. Like, but you redirect the value. You understand it. And I don't care what you think of yourself, but if you're able to redirect the value, my value is to the company,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
then transfers to the clients, right?
Right.
So you turn it that way, and you're always about helping the company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're going to take care of you
Right.
as long as
Yeah.
you're delivering in your work and you're doing this and you are an overachiever and you stay till things are done and all that. But like you're not asking properly.
Mm-hmm.
AI can help you ask properly.
Yes.
Who doesn't want that?
I think, yeah, we're going to be better communicators in real life. I mean, there's this fear that AI will provide you companionship and that you won't want to go out into the real world. But the truth is that AI will, if it's trained properly, which I think most of them are, it'll encourage you to actually get out into the real world.
Yeah, and again, you gotta put in outcomes. Okay, so like I got a little frustrated with Duke. That's what I named my chat. He's the man's man. Okay. But I'm like, okay, Duke, listen, do you understand what done means? And then
Uh,
he's like, well, yes, done is this, and this. Well, almost. This is what done is, okay? Because I'm like, you're never done. Okay. When I'm working on something, I need done. I need finished. Because you know why I
mm,
need done? Because I get paid for done. Okay. I don't get
okay.
paid for anything else. So you better focus on done. And you know what? Even new chats, it talks about done.
Wow,
This is
that's
done.
awesome.
Okay. So like you can train this thing, but you got to be awake and got to understand. Now I have a personality probably a little bit bigger than some people, but like you got to transfer that in there. and let
Mm-hmm.
it become that. I always tell people if that was a business partner across the desk, okay, they'd all quit. No one could hang.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
but only chat can hang with me.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Mm-hmm.
take everything I got. I can put it out, keep working, all that kind of stuff, because that's what it is. But I've trained it, like you said. We really you gotta bring your values and your personality. You got to bring that into it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know your core values, start there. But you
Yes.
got to put that as an operating system inside what you do. So
Mm-hmm.
as I built this whole thing out, because we created our own vocabulary, we created
Wow.
coefficients to track leadership scores, the commander coefficient. I've created all this stuff like that. It's the FICO score for leadership. I
Wow.
built all this stuff but it has to have that foundation. So that took
Mm-hmm.
whatever 1,000 hours, to build, but it's just continuous. So now when I get in there, man, it's like it's pretty unique. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not like the guy who just locks the door and sits on chat all day, though I did for a year. It's I don't do it anymore, but I just want people to understand the ability to do that with these tools to make whatever they're doing physically, mentally better,
Mm-hmm.
enhance
Mm-hmm.
it, to sharpen it. Because once it knows your core values, like I said, everything's built with a bias, right? It may not be your bias. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a little
Mm-hmm.
more liberal, you a little more conservative, or whatever, but you train it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, at least
Hmm.
with me, when I ask it about an issue, anything, it really stretches me in a nice way to
Hmm.
consider, I would say the Socratic method, right?
Of course.
Um, and by the way, that's just maybe, I mean, I also don't know if it's the way I've trained it, but I feel like it's good at de-escalating anger for me too, about personal and world situations.
Well, and you can train it to do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Like, because I love role play in chat, if you ever
Yeah.
done it. So you're a CEO of this whatever company. I'm there to sell you on my thing. Okay. On my command thing. I need you to be just brutal, nasty. You hate
Mm-hmm.
salespeople. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to role play. I get 20 seconds to type an answer and that's it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Begin. Oh,
Yeah.
it's awesome. Dude, I
Well,
put it in, it goes, no, boom, and it'll come back with this thing. And then it'll critique you. Oh, that's solid, but you want to tighten
oh
up this.
wow.
And I did this for a bunch of different stuff, but my investment strategy meeting I was having, like, what am I going to hear? I'm there
Mm.
to present to other, and it just, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. I got on my meeting, I knocked it out of the park.
Wow.
Every question I got was like, yeah, boom, boom, boom. I'm like,
That's amazing.
it's like you can't even comprehend. And role play, go try to find someone who wants to do that with you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
At
Mm-hmm.
10 at night. Okay.
Yeah.
So but you can do it. Like, before I go to bed, let me do one more role play so it's in my mind, and I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'll sleep on those answers. But it really shines in those areas. It's
I
really cool.
never thought about this, but I should feed it scripts like transcripts from sales meetings and just say, what
Oh,
did I do wrong?
it's funny you say that. So here's what I've developed, and again, I'm not thinking I'm the very first person, but probably pretty close. So I was sharing with them today. You know what Plod is? It's
Yeah.
the little voice recorder, right? Well, I got all these contractors, tree guys and home builders going to their estimates, right? So I said, get Plod, clip it on, roll up in the truck, turn it on, get out, do the estimate, record the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing, come back, upload it in the chat. You're doing 3 estimates a day, 5 days a week. There's 15. Do a season, you got 100, 150 estimates. Now you've heard every objection, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Every stall, every need, every
Mm-hmm.
desire, every pain, every bit of pain people have, and all this stuff. And then load it in chat, let it create the ultimate sales presentation.
Wow.
Overcome all the objections before they even come up in the presentation. Work at this is what you do. Just take all that information, okay? And here's where it gets even better. Great. Now you got good for your salesman. Load that into an AI voice agent.
Mm-hmm.
It can now question your callers, have every answer. It can
Wow.
ever you want, right? It can have the conversation because there's no delay anymore. So you have this great, and you can name her Jessica or whatever you want, and you take her through, and you're doing this stuff. And it's like what I tell people, it's not going to close a deal for you, but it's going to be such a hot lead when you roll up. It's to collect a check
Yeah, that's
because
great.
it'll disqualify them, right? It
Mm-hmm.
knows all the parameters. Here's our minimums, this and this, and it can do it super tactfully, and they can market
Mm-hmm.
this. No, now what it could have done just by that phone call that it took at midnight, because people call at the weirdest times for the weirdest things. Okay.
Yeah.
It walks them through and basically has disqualified them very nicely, right? You just saved at least 2 hours in your day of driving
Wow.
out, doing that, finding out they don't qualify, then trying to qualify an unqualified individual, doing all that nonsense. Okay.
Wow.
That just bought you hours in your day for quality, and you're only going to quality estimates, right? That
Hmm.
are heated up, gone from cold to warm, because when they call, they're never more interested than at that point when they call. You've captured it. They
Wow.
do that, and they can answer any. Imagine a year of doing estimates and recording all of those. There's nothing else to uncover. It can do it all. That's the power of AI. That's the field leveler. That's the game changer. Who's going to
Yeah.
compete with that?
That's crazy. I heard about this thing Cluely where you're on a sales call and it in live time has basically a pop-up on your screen to tell you. Now, it's honestly yours is better if you can do it in advance because reacting on the fly is going to be harder than it
It's
sounds.
terrible. Yeah, it's really difficult. Yeah, especially if it's new material you haven't seen. But
And yeah.
an AI voice agent crafted to your business, just like we talk about what I've done, right? All this time in it learns you intimately, learns your
Hmm.
business, understand. It's heard all these people. It's heard everybody.
Mm.
85-year-old lady on a fixed income down to the big hitter millennial. You know what I
Right.
mean? 30-some-year-old guy who's just bought this new place, whatever, right? It
Hmm.
it'll calculate that, it'll segregate all that, it'll build out the plans, it'll be able to have the absolute perfect conversation with these people. And when you call and someone answers all your questions, you got some trust you've just built up.
Yeah,
And this
exactly.
dude's it, man. Oh, that's good. And you can just talking to him, and it's a sweet voice, whatever, do whatever. Well, you can pick your voice and your language and all that stuff. You can have it do multiple languages. Someone calls in Spanish, same thing in Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's like I just from a tool standpoint, like this is the greatest thing ever. This is bigger than the internet.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
It's a greater thing than the internet. So I just
Well, the internet took a little bit to realize for a lot of people like how it would help business. Now I think it's crazy if I saw immediately how it would help business.
yeah,
With the internet, it was a little bit more of a toy.
because that was a major shift.
Mm,
This is I wouldn't put in a major shift. I'd call it a deliberate pivot.
mm,
Okay. And this tool has been created to live inside that. Okay.
okay.
So internet was like you built a home.
Yeah.
You have a
Mm,
home, and now here's the new refrigerator or whatever. You know what I mean? This is
mm.
the updated version of that, but it's a new thing, right? It's the new garage door
Well, the
opener, whatever.
exponential acceleration of what you're already doing,
Right.
where the internet was kind of yeah, you're right, a new paradigm basically.
Right. Right. So this is what needs to happen.
Hmm.
Okay. I mean, it does. It's like again, harness it for good, you know, make it work,
Yeah.
use this tool, figure it out, start playing with it. They
Hmm.
all got a free version. Get in the free version and play.
Well,
Now
the
they're starting
large
to do ads on it.
corporations, their job is they have to fulfill to raise shareholder value. So
Right.
the big corporations absolutely have to do it. So then, what are the small and medium corporations? It's ironic that they have all the ethical issues with it. I mean, it sucks because I think Pepsi should have some ethical qualms about doing a Super Bowl ad with it because they have the money to pay 1,000 creators to make cool stuff, which would be great. But like your corner market their alternative is no ad, or they can have like a beautifully executed ad. Nobody's put out of business. In fact, a small business just benefited from it. So I
Well,
think,
yeah, from Pepsi, they also have posters like end juvenile diabetes, or something like that. And they got Pepsi. It's like soda's like, what? Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah, I know, right?
it's just, so you go into the registered dietitians convention, it's Nestle and Pepsi, and
I
it's
know,
all the
right?
worst food you could ever. It's like, who sponsors this? Like, okay, turn around and go out. Okay,
That's
that that
crazy. Yeah,
that
the
that
McDonald's does
degree,
the
that
Olympic.
certification is not very valid in my book. But it's funny. But Justin, this has been just a killer conversation. I don't even know where this thing was going to go, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it was awesome getting to know you and hearing about all the exciting things you got going on and your cool background and the sculpture and the marine background and your
Well, and you
experimentation.
you are the guest, so I appreciate me, like patting myself on the back. But the stuff you're doing out there too, though, just I love the whole global kind of 24/7 connection.
Hmm.
It's like the most. It's. I don't. I only thought of that as well. Yeah, I got someone in another country and they're awake then because it's 8 in the morning there and it's midnight here. My son's in Albania right now. It's 7 hours ahead.
Oh yeah.
So
Hmm.
we're talking there. So like I get it, right? But I never put it together like build a team, an entire business
Hmm.
with global collaborators.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that was a big thing for me in this whole conversation too. Was I go that is the way people need to shift their thinking because
Yeah.
because there's a lot of talent out there that
Well,
want
it's
that
funny
want to
because
work.
Hollywood actors, some of them, most of them are up in arms about AI. So it's cool for me. I'll ask the Indians I know, I say, what does Bollywood think about it? And they're like, they love it. I'm like, really? I'm like, but the artists, aren't they like threatened? And they're like, no, they just license it out and they make a lot of money. And I'm like, but what happens to real movies, like non-AI? And they're like, they make those too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, is it that simple that we have AI? Does India already, are we overthinking it? Like we can just do both kinds of movies. It's not going to kill anybody.
I think it's all knee jerk. It's all knee
Yeah.
jerk to something new, and everyone's gonna, there's gonna be unions that want to throw their hands up because they don't like change either. They want to keep everything the same way since the 1900s, the early 1900s. Like you just you have to look at it way more open minded. You have to go to different angles with this
Hmm.
technology and everything else, and see how do you apply it. How's Justin Kramm applying it? How's Richard
Hmm.
Walsh applying it? How's this guy applying it? What are they doing? What do you see? You got to go to guys like you, maybe me, others like get the round table together, the big round table, and let's put
Yeah.
this stuff on the table. What's everyone doing? How are you
The
using this
positive
new
people
technology?
are the optimists and the people aren't going to like go down this negative rabbit hole. Like I think people like you and me and others could collaborate and really help solve problems instead of just ruminating about them.
Yeah, and I was on when I started, I was on the it's evil side.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, 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 that's what people want you to think. Like it's anything. I have lots of guns, and I use them
Hmm.
for good.
Yes.
Okay, and there's people with
Yes.
lots of guns that use them for bad. I'm the good guy. I'm going to take AI. I'm going to use it for good. So
Yeah, it's
if
like
things
we've
do get
created.
wonky, I'll know it so well I can combat the evil with the
No,
good
you're right.
at the
They're,
same
we're the
time.
people they'll call when if AI gets out of control, they got to call people like us who have
That's right.
seen it inside out. You can't call somebody who's just skeptical and been complaining about it.
That's right. Yeah, well, they're not action takers. We are.
Let's do
We
it,
are
Rob.
action takers.
Let's do
Awesome.
this.
Well, Justin, how do people follow you? How do they get in touch with you? Follow you? All that good stuff.
Well, find me at the shit list on Substack. Look for that and subscribe. That would be awesome. And you can find our website, shitshowcreative.com, over here.
Got
And
it.
you can send me a message through there. Of course, we're on Instagram. I'm on under Krampstagram, Kramm. So we're on all the socials. So find us there.
Sweet, sweet. Well, Justin, I so appreciate the time today. Brilliant conversation. I loved it. I mean, we pulled a lot of stuff out I had no idea we were going to talk about, but it was very apropos since I had just done a thing on it. Maybe that's why we went that way. I
Ah,
don't know. 2 hours ago, I'm giving this lecture, but this has been so much fun. I really appreciate all the time that you've devoted to us today. And I look forward to keeping in touch and doing other great things. And for everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for joining me on the Sharpen the Spear podcast. If you're a manufacturing executive and you're serious about unlocking hidden profit, improving frontline leadership, and taking control of your floor, go to grit2lead.com right now. Run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator and discover your biggest opportunities are hiding. Don't leave millions on the table. Sharpen your spear, lead from the front, and win the floor. Until next time, stay sharp.